Now, without building too much suspense or anticipation, the answer to the question whether you should be getting the R5 or the R6 for product photography, the answer is the R6. But so the product that we're going to be shooting today is a candle from the brand Candle line. I'll link their Instagram here at the bottom. Make sure to go ahead and check them out. Tell them that I sent you. Now, I've gone and done a little bit of preliminary work where I have set up the scene that I think is the most flattering for this product. I have it set up over here. I'll show a little bit of B-roll. What I'm doing here is I'm gonna set up the R6 and the R5 on the exact same tripod without moving the tripod to make sure that I have a consistent shot. Okay, jumping right into Lightroom. I wanted to show you this right here, these images in Lightroom. The yellow was shot with the R5 and the red down here at the bottom is shot with the R6. The first image that we're going to be looking at is with the R5 85 1.2, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the editing and how I cropped this. I did straighten out the image a little bit and I added one of my favorite presets that I have that I use often. It just brings out the colors nicely, so it's not very, it's rather minimal. This is shot with the R5 85 1.2. This image, number 2 and number 3, is the same image as number 1, but you can see that I'm able to retain really awesome detail with just one single image and the 45 megapixel that the R5 comes with. Getting out of the crop mode, you can see even zoomed in, I'm able to retain some pretty amazing detail in the lettering. Now let's go over to the images produced by the R6 and the 85 1.2. Here you can see that it looks very similar to the R5 1.2, but where the real details come in and where the big differences come in is in being able to retain the details in the lettering. Let me see if I can get you guys to see the differences here. So here is the R5 shot with the 85 1.2 and the R6 shot with the 85 1.2 on a similar tripod, on the exact same tripod with the exact same shot. It's just different. You can see that the sharpness here is, I'm at 100% here. The biggest difference between the R5 and the R6 is its megapixel count. Now, how it relates to product photography is that I'm able to zoom in and retain a lot of detail. Because of that, like I said, I'm able to create different compositions. Now, going back to the R6 and its compositions, this is still, you'll get a lot more flexibility with the 45 megapixels, because even though this is still just one image, these feel and look like 3 different images if they're cropped correctly. I did a review like this where I was reviewing the 85 1.2, one of my earlier videos, and I got a couple of comments, exactly 2 actually, hoping that they could see the comparison and the comparison shots between the 85 1.2 and the 85 f2. If you stick around to the end, I'll add some comparison shots of the exact same product in the exact same placement with the R6 and with the R5. So go ahead and check it out. I hope that it helps you make a purchasing decision. If you have any questions about what lens I would recommend for product photography, the 85 f2 or the 85 1.2, make sure to leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to answer because I own both lenses, of course, and I have experience with both lenses. I've been shooting with the 85 2.0 for about a year. My favorite camera and lens pairing was the R6 and the 85 f2. Now, that was because those were the best options that I had at the time, but to this day, the R6 paired with the 85 2.0 is a fantastic set. The 85 2.0 is a macro lens, which gives you the ability to get in very, very close and gets those detail shots that are very necessary for product photography. The 85 1.2 does not have macro capabilities. Now, in these shots between the R5 and the R6, you're gonna be able to see some major differences, mostly based on the megapixel count that the R5 has versus what the R6 has. The R5 has a 45 megapixel sensor, and the R6 has a 20.1 megapixel sensor. Where the difference comes in with those two megapixel counts isn't necessarily in the quality of the image, because both cameras are going to give you spectacular image results and they're going to give you wonderful images. Where it is going to be a difference is, and you'll see here in the example when we go into Lightroom, is your ability to crop in. Now, I personally shoot product photography with the R5 now that I have it because of this capability. And I'm going to demonstrate that here in Lightroom so you can see it a little better for yourself. Okay, so these two images right here, number 1 and number 4. This one right here is shot with the 85mm 1.2, and number 4 is shot with the 85mm 2.0. The biggest differences that you're going to see here is in the bokeh, of course. You can see that this in the foreground is a little bit more in focus than this one right here. This is much smoother. Even this over here is a little bit blurred out. The bokeh is very soft. But you go over here to the 2.0, and yes, the image does look very good at this distance, but even though the 85 2.0 is a macro lens, it cannot compete with the sharpness of the L series lens, the 85 1.2. Now, going over to the differences between the R6 85 1.2 and the R6 85 2.0. Image number 9 is the 85 1.2, and image number 13 is the 85 2.0. Let's look at image number 9 at full crop, very close to full crop, straightened out a little bit, and then zoomed in 200%. And then going over to image 13, you can see that the 2.0, the same thing happens with the bokeh on the foreground and over here, but zooming in to 200%, there is a little bit of softness in the letters that you can see. So even in the R6, the 1.2 and the 2.0, you can see some massive differences, in my opinion. So that's why I say that for product photography, the R6 is plenty capable and you can get some awesome results from it. If we go through these images here, they all, in my opinion, are beautiful, and I'm confident that a client would like these. If I'm presented just one image and I'm asked to pick between this being the R5 and the R6 without having one or the other to compare it to, it would be very difficult for even a professional to tell the difference. Okay, I want to take a second to say thank you for sticking all the way through this video. In conclusion, the R6 is the camera that I would recommend to mostly everybody while you start to develop your skills and you start to improve on your product photography. I have the luxury of being able to own both camera bodies now, and I prefer the R5. But if you're stuck in between the R5 or the R6, it's, I think, a $1,400 price difference, and I believe that you can save that money, the extra money to jump from the R6 to the R5, and purchase an L series lens. So what I would recommend to most people is buying the R6 body and then buying a beautiful prime lens like the 50mm or the 85mm L series lens. If you're not there yet, the 85 f 2.0 is a tremendous combo with the R6. Okay guys, thanks again. Consider subscribing, consider following me on Instagram. I'll put my Vero link here as well. Consider following me on there. Please feel free to reach out to me. I'm incredibly responsive and incredibly grateful for all of your time. Adios.